Welcome back to the Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. I'm your host, Earl Yates, and Joella Edwards has been with me for the first part of the show, and now we're joined by her lovely daughter, Ella. It's been a pleasure so far, of course, you know, taking the trip with her from growing up in Hawaii to becoming an adult and mother, and now that's why I've taken it to bring Ella on, so she can give that same experience as far as growing up. Of course, it's a different time, and things have changed in Hawaii since then, so the experience, of course, has changed. So I'm going to start with you, Ella. Tell me a little bit about you.
Let's see. I, unlike my mother, who was a country girl who turned into a city girl, I'm all city girl. All city girl. My school was downtown. It's, you know, in the heart of everything, and I was never raised to see color. You know, things weren't black and white. Everybody kind of blended in together. I blended in with everyone, so it was easy, you know. It didn't feel like there were the same pressures that my mom had growing up. It was very, come as you are. You know, just everyone is accepted for who they are, what they bring to the table is always good. You know, you have your crazy times, but it's all, you know.
Just all gravy.
It's all gravy.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, right off, you know, when your mom, of course, said that she grew up in that pioneering age where, you know, she was a pioneer. She was there, you know, there wasn't many blacks in Hawaii, and she grew up, of course, having to deal with that, having to find her own way. Now here you are, you know, your mom's already gone through it, and you're hearing, of course, what the history was, and now it's cut loose. You know, you just, whatever you want to do. It's done.
Well, within reason, of course. I mean, just because there's so much around, doesn't mean you can hide from people who know your family or anything like that. As you know, I'm sure. I mean, it's very, you want to stay on your P's and Q's and not get too rowdy and rambunctious.
Yeah, but I know you. I know you found it in you.
I did, of course. It's me. Everything's going to be okay.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, you know, just the first thing that came to mind, of course, when we've spoke about, you know, Ella growing up at a different time was, hey, you know, it's been a huge thing in the media lately where they're questioning whether our president was actually born in Hawaii. Of course, we know about Indonesia and everything, but please tell me what you know.
I really, really wish that people would stop the witch hunt about Barack Obama being from Hawaii. He was born in Hawaii. He was raised in Hawaii. I spent, myself as well as everybody I went to school with, spent every day of our lives with him. He was there every day. He was in school every day. He did things with us, you know, every day, whether, you know, when you do your little homeroom things, but he was there. And what really bothers me is when people continually say this, what it's doing is it's discrediting our lives as if we didn't have any lives in Hawaii, and we have beautiful lives and beautiful stories to tell. You know, on top of it being, you have to remember too, Hawaii has, back then, it was about maybe 1% of the population was black, and that same percentage is about the same today. It's not much different. So, and yet, like I told you before, everyone is a minority in Hawaii except for the Asian culture, because it's a huge Asian culture. But, you know, he's from there. That's where he's from. That's where all of our lives were, all of our lives. And if people would just stop and realize that, yeah, okay, he's from there, let's squash it. That's how our birth certificates are. My daughters, my sons, my boys, everybody's birth certificates are, about this green. Yes. They're all the same. That's the way they are. That's the way they make them. That's the only way they come, you know?
Well, now, of course, on our first show, we spoke about his introduction to your life in school was around 5th grade.
Yes, 5th grade.
Explain that transition, how, of course, why it was only that time, even though he was born and raised there.
Because his mother had taken him to Indonesia for a little while and then brought him back. He went to another public school in Hawaii before coming to Punahou. You know, in between, he had gone to a public school, gone to Indonesia, and come back. And as a matter of fact, there's a documentary being done on that, and there are 2 teachers that are still alive today, because, you know, they might have been real young back then, but it's been, what, 30 years, since 35 years? So there's still people around that remember him. And, you know, I've had people say to me, well, how can they possibly remember him? Well, they remember me too. Our color kind of tells. You know, it's kind of telling when a teacher says, how can you remember if I remember, I'm sure that people can remember that, you know, you kind of stuck out like a sore thumb.
Well,
so.
I mean, come on. I mean, and when you're in a small knit community
Everybody
like
knows
Hawaii
everybody.
was, you know, I have teachers now that I was in grade school, and of course, you know, I bump into them, and I'm like,
Absolutely.
hey, and they're like, let me think
Absolutely.
who you are, you know, and of course, then they gradually get it back, and then the memories are there.
Yep.
But I don't think you will have that problem
No.
if the guy just happens to now be your president.
Exactly.
You're going to know,
You're gonna
yeah, I remember
You're
Barack
gonna remember.
Barry Obama.
Yeah, you're gonna remember.
Now, for you, Ella, your mom told stories, of course, horseback riding and, you know, swimming and diving for clams. Sounds like a movie to me.
Crazy.
You know,
Like
but,
Blue Lagoon.
yes, but obviously
We had
something
that.
fantastic. What was some of the things, of course, Hawaii had developed to that time, and now it's catering a large part of the tourism throughout the island.
Absolutely.
What was your life like as far as not just being born and raised in the stereotypical things of, you know, race,
Right.
just a young girl? How was it for you?
Amazing. I had the best childhood anyone could ever ask for. I mean, I immersed myself in the arts, which is an incredibly huge establishment in Hawaii. You have, you know, Hawaii Opera Theater, you have many different theaters that will cater to many different choices, all in not only Oahu, but in the entire state. And being able to, you know, immerse yourself in those things and just appreciate not only the different cultures, because you take on different, you know, different cultures when you're doing a different show from maybe a different country or even from a different state. And it's just having the ability to be a part of it. I mean, that's where I spent most of my time, in the arts community. And of course, I didn't really, you know, I would go to the beach and everything, but being a city girl that I am, my time was spent in the arts.
There you go. Well, you know, I think one of the great things that both you experience, and I had the ability to experience it on Hilton Head because of having so many people from the Midwest and up north coming to Hilton Head. And I see the same thing when I look at our president, and I know that he has that similar background, is it makes you so much better of a person.
Definitely.
When you have so many different cultures to grow up with.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Definitely.
because you can't really put yourself in anyone's shoes unless you first kind of understand what they've gone through. And
Yes.
our president, unlike most presidents before him, has the ability to say that I was a multicultural dude
Exactly.
growing up, so
Exactly.
I can.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
can say I know
Absolutely.
what's best
Right.
for that person, or even how to make a good decision for
Yeah.
everyone as a whole.
Right.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's what Hawaii does for most people that are from there, and or have even spent time there, you know. And I think a lot of it has to do with the spirituality of the islands, you know, the earth, the sun, the sand, the sea. I mean, and the people of the islands, the culture of the islands. And then everybody else's culture, because, you know, like you said, and it's not only just when you're taking from somebody else's culture, you're taking their mannerisms, you're taking on the foods that they like and enjoy. You know, you're learning. You grow up in Hawaii knowing and learning, and not, you know, my kids cannot have steak and potatoes every day. They,
No.
you know, they kill me. Mom, what's wrong with you? You grow up having curry and having teriyaki and having kalbi and having meat jun and having. You just grow up with so many different things, and just having that ability to get along with others because of it.
Well, yeah, I know it very well because, you know, a lot of people, they're like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Hilton Head. You're not from Hilton Head. I hear the voice and I'm like, trust me, I'm a binya. I'm not a come already from ya, and I will always be ya, you know? And so it's great to experience that and know and have all of that, you know, intertwined and everything. And it's lovely. I mean, when you can really view it like that.
Absolutely.
Well, when you just said, and that just made me crack up, because when you said that, we even have other languages. I mean, we have Hawaiian. Hawaiian is a language that is spoken, and what people don't realize, you know, when people say, I'm from Texas, I'm a Texan, or I'm from Georgia, what do they say for Georgia? I'm a Georgian? Georgian?
Probably a Georgia boy, Georgia girl.
Yeah, Georgia Peach.
Georgia Peach.
What have
There you go,
you?
Georgia Peach. But, you know, in Hawaii, you can't say you know, if people say, oh, you're from Hawaii, so you're Hawaiian. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
That is an ethnic background and race all in and of itself.
Absolutely.
but you speak the language because you learn language. I mean, you have to be able to say the streets and the foods.
Well, you know what? I know this is not supposed to be any performance whatsoever, and we've spoken about this, Ella and I, on a personal level, how she's like, you know, I just don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway on TV. Go ahead and speak a little Hawaiian to me, if you would,
Go for it,
please.
Mom.
Do you want the Hawaiian, or do you
just
want
give it to me. How?
Well, okay, I can tell you that our
I'm not gonna know the
on the
difference.
state seal it says Ua Maukaea o Ka'aina I Kapono, which means the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness, and that's on our state seal.
You got 20 minutes of conversation between two
Well,
of you. Go ahead.
the Pidgin English is another. That's
Okay.
another. It's a language.
It's a
like
derivative
it's
of Hawaiian.
Yeah, and I mean, you grow up learning English.
Yes.
Everybody in
Yes.
Hawaii grows up learning English, but you know, sometimes
Speak a
when,
little
when
pidgin.
we're speak a little pidgin, well, like, you know, hey, brah, what, like that, huh? Like, go somewhere. I mean, just there's different ways when you're trying to talk to somebody or you're trying to tell them something. You're, hey, you going surfing, or, you know, or we instead of saying yes, we say yeah, or yeah, bro, or yeah, hey, like that.
Well,
or,
you know, the great thing is, of course, there's no different dictionary.
No.
But Gullah is a different language, trust me.
Yeah.
Well,
but everybody has their own. So.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you,
you.
Earl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and of course, you know, we'll come back on again, and we'll take care of the rest of the business, of course, talking just about our president. Well, this has been Lowcountry View of Hilton Head. My guest has been Ella and Joella Edwards, and it's been wonderful. I hope you've enjoyed it just as much as I have. Have a good night.